Today, we are going to be talking about mission and core values, right? And so, and how to actually use them at your gym to where they'll have an impact, right? I've seen people have a mission statement at their gym or at their business, and it just kind of hangs on the wall, right? And it's not something that they actually live and breathe and use on a day-to-day basis, right? And half of their employees don't even know what it is, right? And so I think that with a mission statement like that, it's not going to be very effective, right? It's something that somebody sat down and thought really hard about, probably in a day, and wrote something pretty cool, and then it gets put up somewhere in a nice frame, right? But does that actually drive actions in the day-to-day business, right? Do people look at that or understand that and say, like, look, that's why we're doing what we are doing, is because of that right there? Or does nobody even really know what it is besides maybe the person that wrote it, right? And so I think that mission statements are something that, or your mission in general, is something that can be very powerful if you choose to use it the right way. If you're not going to use it the right way, then there's no point in even doing it just to say you have a mission statement. It doesn't matter. Who cares, right? But if you plan on using it as something that can really help your gym be your gym's North Star, like your guiding star, then I think it can be powerful, right? And you have to decide if that's something that you are planning on energizing, because it takes effort to energize this until your entire team does know it and understand it, and could tell a customer what it is, right? Like what's your mission, right? It takes time. And if you're not willing to put in the time for everybody to understand that and use it so you can weaponize it, then I would recommend just not even worrying about having it, right? So what are some scenarios where a mission statement can help the gym? Number one, and probably the most important, is when the team is running the day-to-day business and it lacks a centralized leader, okay? Or it lacks a strong leader, one of the two, right? And so, because a lot of the times, a very strong leader that's working, boots on the ground with their team, they don't need to have a mission statement. They should, I believe they should, but they don't need one, because everybody understands what they're doing, because it's being reinforced on a day-to-day basis in every conversation and every interaction that the person is having with the team, right? But like, as an example, at my gym, we don't have a very centralized leader. It's ran by committee almost, right? Where I have four managers that are really the ones that are running all the day-to-day stuff. And so in that case, for them to really it's not one person's vision anymore, right? And so, like, we have a mission statement, and I'll break down how a mission statement works, but we have a mission statement in place of me being there and always reiterating what the vision is. Now, if you are a great leader, you'll always want to continually communicate the mission, the vision, the direction, the why, the how we'll know we're successful, what makes us unique, what makes us stand out. You want to constantly communicate that to your team, right? But with me not wanting to be in the day-to-day business of my gym, we need that to exist in a different form. And that's where the mission comes into place. So what is the mission? The mission is essentially your purpose, right? It's a different name for your purpose. Why does your business exist? What is its intent, its goals, right? And so, as an example, like a mission statement for us at my gym would be something like, hey, we are Body by Design is the number one transformation facility in the entire state of Wisconsin. We are designed to help people not only through fitness, but through nutrition, through mental health, through recovery, be able to identify and reach their goals, both in an effective and an enjoyable way, right? We'll do this by taking our diverse approach and open-mindedness across all of our transformation coaches to meet every client where they're at, right? We'll know that we are successful when we have accomplished 100 transformations per year, right? That's the impact that we want to make. So that could be an example of a mission statement that everybody on your team can remember, but it covers important questions, right? Who are you, right? What makes you unique? What is your purpose, right? Particularly for gyms, what impact do you want to make in your community? Why did you start a business? What is the purpose, the intent, right? What problem are you solving, right? And then ultimately, how will you know you are successful, right? In a lot of mission statements, they miss that last part. How will you know that you are successful, right? But it's very important for your team to understand that. It's very important for your team to be able to know when they're winning, right? And when they're not winning. And that's the game, guys. The game is the mission, right? And once you have a really strong mission statement that everybody on your team agrees with and it energizes them and they all understand it, now you can start decentralizing things, right? It doesn't need to just be what the boss says or what the gym owner says or everybody understands the mission. So they can start making decisions based on what makes the most sense for the mission, right? And so it works different in different companies, but for gyms, largely, you'd want to include stuff like how you go about doing things, when you'll know you're successful, what makes you unique. That way you could always keep that strategic advantage. Like, if you're going to be the best in the business, say that. If you're going to be the cheapest in the business, we are going to create the most affordable programs that anybody can do. I don't recommend doing that by any means for gyms. But if that's you, then say that, right? And that's what makes you unique. That's what makes you stand out. That's why you're doing what you're doing, right? So once you have this really strong mission statement that everybody understands and they can recite, and it should be like about as long, imagine if somebody asks you at a party, like, hey, what do you guys do at Body by Design, right? Your mission statement should be something that flows off of the tongue, like the answer to that question when you're talking to somebody at a backyard barbecue, right? Oh yeah, so we are a transformation center that really helps people, not just in one way. Like you're probably thinking like a gym. Like we do fitness, we do nutrition, we do life coaching. We use these different approaches so that way everybody can have the transformation that they're looking for, and we can meet them where they're at. Right. So our goal is to hit 100 transformations a year. And based on how we do things, like we're really good at being able to do that. And they'd be like, oh shit, that's cool. Right. You don't want your mission statement to be something that is like, they're just sitting there like, wow, when is this guy going to stop talking? Because you made it 10 paragraphs long. Right. Because although that would be more descriptive, no one's going to be able to remember it. Right. And no one's going to be able to explain it to somebody else because they're not like memorizing the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, the Pledge of Allegiance isn't even that long, but you guys get what I'm saying, right? Like, it's not something that they should have to like work weeks and weeks to memorize, right? It should be something that everybody just intuitively understands. Once they do, right, and they can reiterate it to any customer that walks in the door, which customers are not usually going to ask, but they could if needed, if they had to, right? Now they understand the vision. Now they understand the intent behind the business, and they can start making decisions based on what's best for the mission, which means you don't have to be there as much because your employees, your team are going to start making the same decisions that you would make, right? If you were there, because you as the owner always does what's best for the business in its totality. And sometimes that's the economics of the business. Sometimes it's the customer. Sometimes it's the team, and helping you understand and on which one to really focus on is part of what makes you a gym owner. But after you discuss and you identify the mission statements, then it's time to identify your core values. In business, core tenets are often, exchanged for core values, but core values is Core values is how you go about accomplishing that mission with your team based on what you guys believe in, right? And so, as an example, like if you guys believe in being really professional, then that would be one of your core values. Maybe it's special forces, right? I'm just making them up, but like your core value wants to be something that means something special to you guys, right? But without context, it doesn't really mean much to anybody else. But to you guys, to your team, it means something special, right? So that way you can go up to a one of your coaches and be like, "Hey, man, not really special forces today when you're showing up late and two other coaches had to remind you to put your uniform on," because we know that people in special forces, like they don't need to be reminded to be fucking elite. They don't need to be reminded to do the best job that they can do every single time they show up. They don't need that reminder. They're always professional. In fact, they pride themselves on nobody being more professional than they are, right? They're always early. They're always prepared. They're always ready to rock, and if that is how you want your team to operate, that would be a good core value for you guys, right? And so I like to have 5 core values. I don't force it. If 4 makes sense, if you really like 6, but I like to have 5 core values that my team understands, right? And so one of them could be like, you know, I don't know, everyone matters, you know? And so like without context, that's very vague, like, okay, but with context, it's like, look, we're going to have a lot of different kinds of people come in here, right? And all of them have the goal of becoming the best version of themselves possible, right? It's going to be a diverse group of people. Some people are going to have a lot of money. Some people are not going to have a lot of money. Some people are going to, have a lot of work to do. And some people aren't going to have a lot of work to do. Some people are going to have huge goals and some people are going to have very modest goals. But the point is, at this gym, everybody matters. We're not only going to give preferential treatment to the people that have big transformations to make. We're not only going to give 110%, attention to the people that are competing for a bodybuilding show because they're going to give us the most social media presence. Like, where every single person matters, right? No matter if they can only afford to do group training plus once a week with a coach, or if they paid in full for the next 3 years, everybody matters. Right? We're not going to treat somebody differently because of what they have coming in. Because once they're here, this is their safe spot. Right? Now, again, that may not be a core value for you. It is for us, but it may not be for you. So you want to really identify the core values that make you guys unique and what you really, really believe in. Because now with a mission statement, which is what it is you guys are there to do and how you will become successful, and core values, which is how you will go about accomplishing this mission as a team, the rules of engagement, the rules of the game, and mission being the objective of the game, right? With these two paired together, now you have a decentralized operating system for your business because your team understands individually what they need to do, and the role that they play, right, in contributing to accomplishing that mission together, right? The final thing that I will say is, once you have really strong core values and everybody understands them, then you are able to turn that into standards. So if you guys have seen the scoreboard in phase 3 and you see the right-hand column where it says standards and everybody starts with 100 out of 100, right? Those standards were developed, my standards at my gym were developed based on my core tenets, right? So let's use that first example, special forces, right? Always professional. So we could say, hey guys, here's 5 standards that I've created based on this first core tenet. I want everybody to be to the gym 15 minutes early. That way you have, 5-10 minutes to set up your workout, your training session for your clients. And then when they walk in, let's just assume they're going to be 5 minutes early. When they walk in, you can greet them by first name. You can smile, give them a high five. You're not running around throwing equipment together like you're late for something, right? We want you to be ready for them, which is why 15 minutes early is our standard. Again, if you don't believe in that, then don't make that your standard, right? Or uniforms. Everybody needs to be in uniform because it makes us look more professional than if we weren't. It's very simple to understand. If you don't believe in that, then don't worry about it. But for me, a uniform looks more professional than if you were not in uniform. And I pride myself on being professional. And I think that it makes you act a little bit differently. I think so. And so for us, it's a standard. Or what about like we don't allow profanity on the radio. I listen to almost exclusively profane music when I'm working out, but I'm not my avatar. See, we have, 40 to, 50-year-old women and men and people that just, it doesn't even matter their age. They don't, they could be offended by some of the music that the younger generation plays. And for us, everyone matters, right? And I don't want to if I can get away with playing the exact same kind of music, but it's filtered and you can just toggle a little switch that says explicit and it just blanks out, some of those words that might offend somebody, then why wouldn't I do that, right? Why would I? What's the difference? It's the same exact song or the same music or whatever, but without the part that would offend somebody else, right? And so those are standards. But now you can take your let's say that you take your 5 core tenets, right? And then you create 4 standards around each one of them that everybody needs to follow. Now you have a list of 20 standards. Now you have everybody on your team following the same set of rules, right? And it makes sense because that's who you've identified yourselves as. They're not just random rules that you came up with as the gym owner. You guys have decided who your identity is, right? And based on your identity, these are the rules that make up that kind of person, right? And these are your standards. And those standards are how you guys have decided is the best way to accomplish your mission as a company, right? And so it all plays together. It all goes together. But now you can see the thought process that goes behind it. And if you're actually going to implement this, it can be very powerful, right? If you're just going to write a mission statement and hang it on a wall, what's the point of doing any of this? If no one's embodying them, right? If your team doesn't know, if I were to walk into your gym, 3 months after you watched this video and did this exercise with your team, if I were to walk into your gym in 3 months and asked any one of your trainers, like, hey man, what are your 5 core tenets? If they don't know, then how could they possibly embody them, right? If they don't know what your mission statement is, how could they possibly make decisions based on it? They can't, right? They just can't. It's not possible, right? And so I think that if you're going to do this, it makes a lot of sense to go all the way with it, until everybody understands what all of your standards are, all of your core tenets, and all of your mission. You only have to do it once, right? To get your whole team on board. And then you make it part of your onboarding process. What, you take this, the explanation of your mission, the explanation of your core tenets, your standards, and why your standards are what they are. They're not just some arbitrary thing. You really drill that in during onboarding. So any new hire comes in already knowing that for any position. Right. So anyways, guys, I teach this more in the in-person workshops. So if you come to one of the workshops at my gym, we go into this pretty in depth for a couple hours. I help you develop them. I help you create them. But we don't teach this in the Perfect Gym model, only because we're really trying to get gym owners in the position where they can hire and start doing all of this stuff. And I don't want to slam too much at you at once. So anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to stop going live, and then I'm going to jump on with the graduates who are in the waiting room for our coaching call. So appreciate you guys, and hopefully you enjoyed it. And I will see you next Tuesday.